I don't open up, especially if I don't
Yeah.
know the person. I worked with my life coach, but that was also I don't know until which session that we actually like came to the core. So my anxiety will build up, build up, build up to the point that I am so torturing myself. So one of the questions she asked me, who are you?
It's the most difficult question.
Try to talk to people around you.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe that person is not even your friend. Maybe that
No.
person is your mom or your father, whoever you're comfortable
Whoever
with.
you are comfortable with,
Correct.
your brother, your
Yeah.
sister,
Yeah.
the teacher in the class, or anybody, the priest in the
Yeah.
temple, you don't know.
You have to go through trial and error to find the right person to speak to you. They will put the most complex of topics, complex of subjects in the simplest of words, and you will understand them like this.
Life. What a beautiful journey it is. It's full of faces, spaces, faces that are recognizable in your daily life, from your parents to your friends, the teachers that you get, your colleagues, and then finally that special someone that you want to make your life with. The memories that you make with these people are very important. Even the smallest of things that you do in your childhood, and maybe you forget, but that sound, that music, that taste reminds you of those sweet memories, and sometimes not so sweet. We keep collecting these memories throughout our lives, not realizing how they shape us. Memories, experiences that have made you who you are today are going to take you forward, make you a better person, a better parent, a better friend, a better son, a better brother, and so on and so forth. If there are memories or experiences that have hurt you a little, you need to find a safe space where you can release them, talk about them, so that little release, or that's someone who's sitting right next to you who's listening to these hurtful memories, can make you a little better, little relaxed. And that circle of people, we call them friends. That is exactly what we did today. A very casual, a very random talk between friends and my wife about life, how we are making sure that we are dealing with it in the best way we can to be better individuals on a daily basis. If you like today's episode and the others that we've released, please like, share, and subscribe. That little effort from your side goes a long way. Thank you and enjoy today's episode.
Welcome to the Mann Podcast. We seek answers. In today's episode, we are joined with my wife and a very close friend, Ksenija Yadav. Hi, baby.
Hi.
There is no theme for today's episode. We are not specifically talking about anything. It's just like a friendly catch up and also maybe an introduction of the Kriya tribe.
Yeah.
And she's one of the members of the tribe. So before we start with the podcast and the conversations, um, we will start off with Guru Vandana. Okay? So,
Yes.
just folding our hands.
Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Para Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guru. So
Go for
everybody
it,
has
let's finish.
everybody has seen us, you, me, Manoj, and so
No, before anything,
yeah.
I have to say first of all, I have to say thanks to my wife for joining us today. I
Oh.
mean, it's very sweet of her to make time. It's late in the night, and it's not really, the
Past my
time,
bedtime.
not really the time when
Yep,
she is
usually awake.
usually awake because she is always on a schedule, right? So, and I admire that quality of hers a lot. She goes to bed on time, wakes up on time in the morning. So to be making the time today
Oh.
for this conversation, thank you, Devi.
Thanks for staying awake for us.
Yes, yes. So, what is the theme of the of today's conversation?
Just
What is
saying
the
the
first thing
theme.
that came to our mind?
Ksenija.
You know what? You know what is coming to my mind right now? Makeup. Since that
Yeah,
was the since that was the last thing we were
What?
talking about.
What makeup? What makeup? Why he's talking about makeup suddenly?
Because that was the last thing we were talking about.
Really?
Yes.
When? Who was talking about makeup? We don't know
Maybe he's
anything about
remembering the
makeup.
time when he was trying to
Maybe he wants
buy
to buy
some
you
for
a new
me.
makeup.
Yeah.
You want
Okay.
to buy new makeup?
Ganging up on me. Fine. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So yeah, makeup.
Oh.
Your nails looks good.
Thank you.
So you did it today, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, and this is for New Year's actually.
So let's talk about your day today. Because we met, like, it is our second meeting in a day.
Yes, it is. Like we said, we are friends, right?
Yeah.
One community. We speak with each other. We talk with each other, and meet with each other very regularly.
Yeah.
Today was special because finally, my wife decided to take up the offer for a sound healing session with
Not offer, birthday present.
a
It was a
birthday
birthday
present
present. Yeah.
with Naresh, and
I think over a year-old birthday
yes,
present.
almost a year old. Yes.
Yeah.
And she had a beautiful experience there, right? Would you like to share with me?
Not really the details of it.
No, no, you don't have to
No,
share
no,
the
no.
details.
Just a little experience if
Yeah.
you want to. But start from the day. Like, what did you do today?
I mean, pretty much the usual what we do on the weekends.
Yeah.
I try to sleep late, doesn't happen.
Hmm.
He tries to sleep late, it happens. No, but we spend a nice morning, breakfast and all of that. Then obviously I had to go for my nail appointment.
So can you share your nails to our audience?
You need a close up. So if anyone follows, I don't know, I think it's a universal, or I'm not sure if it's just for my culture. For New Year's, it's auspicious to have something red on you. Some people will do red underwear or some red clothing. For me, it's easier on my nails. I have to think about it.
Mhm.
There. So that was the inspiration. Plus, I wanted to look like an ornament, so why not combine the two? Yeah, and then after that, we went for a session with Narso to utilize my present. This was the first time I did like a full
This is the
proper
first time we
sound
did.
healing
Yeah.
one-on-one.
Last time we did in a group,
It was
and
in a
then
group, yeah.
once you did with the Lara. So Lara is our
Did
another
she?
friend. Yeah.
You
When you
were
were
not in
traveling,
Dubai.
when you were traveling, and she
When
and
we were
Lara,
still in the
Marina.
old apartment, yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
There they did one session.
Right.
After that, today.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then no, you came for that one new moon meditation, both of you.
But it was a
Yes.
group one.
That,
That
that
was
was
great.
that was a group session. But because this was a one-on-one session,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember you telling us that when you do a one-on-one session, the frequencies are specific to that person, right?
Yeah.
Specific, and also we talk and we discuss, and it's kind of we get to know each other better.
Mm.
So maybe you can then also explain like which, specifically for me, which frequencies
Oh,
you
that's interesting.
used and like what does each one,
Yeah,
or you can.
but I have to tell that for what we use that frequency,
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I don't want to. It's a personal session, so
Correct.
Okay.
I don't want to share much details. But
Mm.
we worked on some relaxing,
Mm.
some uh, going deeper stuff where you can find your own solutions also,
Answers.
and
Mhm.
Mm.
answers also.
So she was
And
also seeking answers today.
she was seeking answers.
Very good.
More than, yeah, kind of, no
Solutions more.
solutions,
See,
not
answers
answers.
we had. That
We
was
had
pretty
answers.
much answers we had. Like
Ha.
from what is coming in from, or
Uh-huh.
what is the root of it, this and the other.
Uh-uh.
This was easy because I already done
Mhm.
stuff with the life coach way back after COVID. So I can somewhat pinpoint by myself,
Mhm.
but then it's just finding the solution of how to let go of a certain thing or how to overcome a certain thing.
Yeah,
So we were mostly just working on that. First, if there is willingness to let go,
Mm.
and then if there is, how to actually do it.
Mm.
So that
Okay.
was the focus.
yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
For example, if some issue is there, or there is something to deal with the past or
Mm.
something,
Mm.
but we were both on the same page that it happened very quickly though, correct?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
within
like
15.
within 5-10 minutes, we were straight to the core
Mm.
of it.
Wow.
Yeah, we were like
Yeah.
So basically, it is a sign that she was open to it.
she
To
was, yeah, she was
Yeah.
open to
Very
it.
good.
She was open to it.
That's very nice.
Yeah, open to it, and only the willingness should be there. So
Mm.
Mm.
anytime anybody comes for healing, or if they want to go deeper, it's the willingness is very important. Without willingness, it will not
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Yes.
But for me, it was additionally easier because I know Narsu,
Mm.
and
Yeah,
because these are also we haven't we never discussed it to this length,
To details. Yeah.
yeah,
but there was already some familiarity with the situation that I was describing or the issue that I was
yeah,
dealing with. So that was then also easier for me to, because I don't open up, especially if I don't
yeah.
know the person.
Right.
Like it worked with my life coach, but that was also I don't know until which session that we actually like came to the core. Everything
Came
that
to
we
them.
were doing up until that point was mostly surface level.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I think once she felt that I am maybe not fully comfortable with her, but that I am familiar with her and that she's trustworthy, that's when she only started pushing me and we really started digging in.
So for people who are considering maybe, getting a life coach
Mm,
or maybe, getting into therapy, how important do you think was this experience with the life coach in your life
mm.
when you did it? How important was it? Did it help? Did it give you a different direction, a different way of thinking, etc.?
So life coaching for me was something that I was considering for a long time, even before COVID,
Mm-hmm.
but I never like took the plunge to actually, especially because it's not like you know a bunch of life coaches or
Right,
you
right,
can
right.
just easily find
find the right
someone
one. Yeah,
good. So I was never like fully taking that step. Then COVID happened and COVID ended, and I mean, I think like everyone, so much stuff was coming out, or you were suppressing even more, and then all the situation was impacting
Yeah.
you. So this is how I usually function. It's not probably a very healthy way, I will boil until I reach to the point of like, F it, it's either gonna happen or it's not gonna happen at all.
It's a lot. It's a lot with a lot of us. I mean, I'm in the same boat. Like I will keep pushing it down, pushing it down, and then when it's I can't hold it anymore, I will explode, and that usually happens with me with my anger.
Yeah, for you it's anger, for me it's anxiety.
Right.
So my anxiety will build up to the point that I am so torturing myself to, like, honestly, I will reach to the level of,
Yeah.
well, I don't
Blast.
care at this point. Even if it's the worst case scenario, I don't care. I need it done.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried reaching on to one life coach that through a person that I knew was using, I mean, services of that person.
Mm.
But she was like fully booked, and she was like, that was maybe August. She was telling me maybe I'll have a spot in September. I will let you know.
Right.
But again, with me is once I reach that point, it has to happen now. If it doesn't happen, it's gonna be like years until I reach it
You will
again.
again suppress it.
So then, the job that I was working before, I mentioned to one of my colleagues at the time, and she was like, I know someone.
Oh wow.
I've never like fully dealt with her for a long time. I did maybe a couple of sessions, but she's good. So she shared with me her Instagram, she has a full website and everything. Obviously a local, she's a Serbian. So I went to her website and everything. The first thing that I liked about her, she was not sugarcoating anything. Like her front page of her website, it's not like flowers and rainbows and little chirping birdies. No, she flat out says, I'm a daughter of alcoholics.
Wow.
Now I'm forgetting the details. My father passed away from this. My mother passed away from this. I was pretty much in a very shitty place for years, not realizing I was. Gets married, great guy, but she's still shitty in her head. That I think she says at one point it reached to the level that her marriage was at risk.
Oh wow.
Because she was dealing with stuff.
Right.
She was not getting along with her mother-in-law. They hated each other in the beginning. Not because the woman was bad, because she was carrying trauma from her own stuff. So that's when she started getting into it, started resolving. Her husband gets on the same train wagon. They get out of it. Everything's perfect. And she starts working on it. So obviously you could reach out to her through the website. I did that. Then another thing happened, which again I really liked, was she does a trial session.
Okay,
and she openly says, we will do a trial 30-minute session. It's free of charge. But this is mostly just for us to, first of all, for me to estimate what you believe the issue is.
Right.
If I can help you with it.
Right.
If this is something of a greater level that it needs actual proper psychological attention.
Right.
I am very honest with that, and I will tell you that. I will not meddle with that. I will not get involved with that because I'm not obviously
qualified.
Yeah.
Right.
So she can do more damage than good if she gets involved with something like that.
Yeah.
No, still this is post-COVID, so obviously no face-to-face. Everything was through video calls. We do that 30-minute session. I'm seeing her for the first time. I'm meeting her for the first time. I was bawling like a baby. Like already within 15 minutes.
You were just waiting for someone to listen, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And after that, she was like, okay, we can work together. This is my suggestion. This is what I suggest to you. La la la. So in the beginning, it was one weekly session. Every week we would meet for an hour. So for me, again, it's not just the expertise of the person, it's also the personality and the temperament, if you're gonna click or not.
Right.
With me, she was amazing because I always go from a place of logic. So she was very good at like, no, now you go here, and now you have to do this. And she's also was very good to be a natural authority, because there's stuff you don't want to do. You don't want to talk
Right, right, right.
about certain things, right? So you will try to avoid it. You will
Right.
try to like divert,
Yes.
but she was like, ah, no, 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 you're coming
Come
back. Dig, do it, do it, do it. So obviously there were a lot of uncomfortable stuff that we would discuss. But one of the first like breakthroughs that I realized was it was one of the exercises actually that she gave me, because sometimes she would give you homework.
Right.
So one of the questions she asked me, and I think everyone would think, oh, it's such an easy question, but it's really not. Who are you?
It's the most difficult question.
We had a full podcast on this. Yeah.
And my first instinct was, okay, I'm ready. I can tell you. And she's like, but I don't want your work and I don't want your education.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like,
Yeah, because the question is not that.
Yeah.
Because everyone perceived that question in the sense of an interview, right? You're going for an interview, and someone is asking you, who are you, right? You start thinking about your qualifications, where you come from, this, that, the other.
So I was blank.
Yeah.
I was blank. And it's not like, I was young. I mean, it was young. I wasn't a kid.
Yeah.
I was in my 20s. Yeah, your 20s are when you're like still discovering yourself. But I was still at the age where you should, at least on some level, have a certain image of yourself. I had nothing. I was really blank. And I remember just sitting, and she's like, I don't know, maybe 12 to 15 years older than me, so it's not still like a massive age gap. But I felt so like sad for myself. And then at the same time, obviously, you feel like a little bit embarrassed. So then she was like, okay, now we know where we stand, right? So the exercise she had for me was, I think it was 50, 50. Write 50 things that you love about yourself. She said it can be the most mundane thing you can think of. Like, I love the way my pinky looks.
Yes,
sure.
That's a valid point. Write it down.
Yeah.
And she was like, do that. And it wasn't even a point of, oh, we're going to go through it because I want to see what you actually like. It was just the exercise of itself.
Bringing it out.
Yeah. So I think that was the first change, that after we were working for a while, I would even do like a self-check with me. Like, who am I? Like, or if someone was to ask me, and it's not a job interview, what would I say? And I don't really know. I'll be like, no, I'm this, I'm that, I'm loud, I swear, I'm Serbian, I'm Orthodox, like, I love horror movies, I love thrillers, I love murder documentaries, I might be able to kill you and get away with it. Like, it gets easier after a while.
Yeah.
So, then after we were progressing, that's when she started to sort of stretch out the time between the two sessions. So then we would do once every 2 weeks. Then we would do once a month.
Right.
Because she said openly, I have taught you the tools
that you can employ.
Now the point is you have to start implementing
right.
it. I cannot hold your hand forever.
Right.
And then when we were sort of, let's say, finished, she said, at this point, if you need me, reach out to me. We can have a session. We can discuss it. But you've pretty much done the work.
Right.
Now, does that mean I'm all perfect now? No.
Not really.
Thank you. I still.
I was not coming from a.
You said it lovingly. Not as a husband. Okay.
I was not coming from a point of critique, but I was coming from a point of no one is really perfect.
No, of course.
Even if you do work on yourself, no one is really perfect. You have to because at times, even after working on yourself, after a certain point of time, the time passes and everything. As human beings, we tend to forget.
Yeah, of course.
We have that tendency of leaning into the mundane and the usual, right? and we forget all the exercises that we've done.
Yeah.
And then we fall into those bad habits, and then we have to remind ourselves again
Yeah.
of these things that we have done in the past, so that it becomes a habit. And it's a constant exercise. You have to keep going back.
Because it's on a conscious level.
Correct.
Yep.
You keep forgetting. Couple of months of sessions cannot erase what is basically inbuilt into you from the years before. So it has to be a conscious exercise.
Correct.
Sometimes this session gives you the capacity to observe.
Mm-hmm.
Because before we don't know what to observe.
Yeah.
Many people even they don't know what does it mean to observe.
Mm-hmm.
So you start observing yourself when the anger is rising
Mm.
or when the anxiety is there.
Mhm.
So you become little aware of it because you remember the lesson or you remember
Yeah.
the practice.
Mhm.
So that time you may not be able to deal with it fully,
Mm-hmm.
but you are at least aware of this. You are
Mm.
at least aware of the timing of this. You are
Right.
at least aware of the triggers.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So to know the trigger is very important. Otherwise, you are lost that from where the anger is
Yeah.
coming or from what is making me more anxious. So you know the trigger. So this kind of exercises, this kind of even we call it therapy or coaching is really good to just to make you aware. Then
But
the
see,
work begins also in from
for
there.
me also the other thing was with her, I had no idea that I have anxiety.
Yes.
I never would have characterized myself like that. And I never mentioned it to her because I just thought this is how I am.
Right.
Yes.
Usually I would be labeled an overthinker.
Mm.
So like, okay, I'm an overthinker. That's not anxiety. Oh, I'm very analytical. I'm this. I just overthink a lot. So she and I started doing sessions. I never shared with her at the beginning. And at one of the sessions we met, and I think we finished it. She was asking me, "How are you feeling?" Well, I said, "I have to share something interesting with you that I've noticed." She's like, "Tell me." I said, "I would always get these, like, not that I'm a hypochondriac. Hypochondriacs goes to the doctor. I avoid a doctor like anything.
Yeah.
But I would have crazy thoughts, and it's always pinpointing to something medical. You know, my foot hurts for a couple of days. I'm freaking out. Or is it this or is it that? And when she and I started doing the session, that sort of started subsiding. So I mentioned this to her, and she looks at me. She's like, "Oh, you didn't tell me this." I said, "Because I just thought that's my brain, and that's how I am."
Right.
Yeah.
And she said, "No, that's anxiety. Yours just goes to that point."
Gotcha.
Because for me, my brain will go to something that I'm a million percent devastating and a million percent something that I cannot essentially control.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's not like I can really discover it by myself. So mine would always go there. But I never knew that it was that. She was like, "Yeah, that's anxiety."
Interesting.
So even to this day, this will start happening with me.
Right.
And then I would usually be like, okay, what is behind it? What is, actually this,
Where is
actually
it coming
that?
from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Breaking it down.
Yeah. But then besides that mental exercise that you have, what also works for me is working out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same for both of us.
Yeah.
I need to ask you one thing, and I'm holding this question back because I didn't want to cut you. During this exercise, right, from the very start, when you started thinking about going to a life coach, right, and then actually finding a person who actually works for you, can you, like, for people who maybe want to, go towards that direction or want to explore it, can you break it down in a way that is simpler? Because it becomes very confusing. Oh, who should I reach out to? What are the should I be looking at qualifications and this, that, the other? What for you in your experience worked, right? That you could find a person like that and it worked for you. What in your experience you think helped?
To find her?
Yes.
I think it was
it happens.
I think it was the universe sending,
Yeah.
because I wanted another coach that I've known, that the person that I knew was going to her for years,
Yeah.
and she's really good and really qualified, and I knew that she gets very busy and that she doesn't even like to overbook herself that much. She has a selective number of people. But then she didn't happen for me. And then this one came in.
Right. But okay, and this is a good way of explaining it. The universe is working for you, and it was steering you in a direction.
Yeah.
Right? But for people who don't like understand that way of thinking, I caught a few things, certain cues. Maybe that will explain it. And I
Okay.
don't want to put words in your mouth, but if you think those things are correct, just let me know. If not, you can elaborate, right? You said I reached out to a friend and she recommended this person to me, and then when I saw her website,
Yeah.
it was simple. There was no hoo-ha in there, right? It was simple to the point, and I liked that. That was your starting point. That's how you got in. Then when you spoke to her, she made it very clear that this is how I can work with you.
Yeah.
And if there are things that are out of my control or I am not qualified for, I will say, this is what you might have, and I might not be able to help you here. And these are the things that you actually liked about her. And then during the conversations, you created a rapport, right, which made you more comfortable to continue in the sessions and progress, and it helped. Am I right?
Yeah. But again, it was my personality needs something like that. For someone else, she might seem maybe too aggressive, not too, or maybe she can adapt. I don't know. Maybe she just picked up a cue. This is how this person functions, and that's how it is, because obviously they go through trainings as well, and they go through multiple workshops and
Yeah.
certification processes, whatever. So I'm not saying she's the same with everyone, but her approach to me worked. I mean, I think in the end of the day, it would be a trial and error,
Yes.
unless you're already someone who maybe has some knowledge about it yourself, and then you can see, oh, okay, she did, I don't know, she has this certificate or she follows this method. That's a good one. Whatever. I honestly did not know.
Right.
I honestly knew very little about NLP in general
Right.
in that moment.
Yeah.
But I kind of felt, okay, I'm not to the level that I need actual psychological help. So I was like, at least let me try with this.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and thank you for that, because the reason why I wanted to make that very clear is because a lot of people, when they are trying to, first of all, this is not a very common thing, right? This is not like you're going to a doctor, right, and asking for a cold medicine.
Yeah.
Let's be very honest. It's still very fresh. People do not know much about therapy or NLP or getting a life coach, etc. To be able to break those steps down and make it simple for the audience or for people who are listening, it's very, very important, because there are people who think about such endeavors and then eventually get exhausted and think maybe there's no one out there. But like you very rightly said, you have to go through trial and error to find the right person to speak to you. Um, from my experience in going to therapy, um, I had already decided that I want to work with someone who is actually from India. Um, because the cultural aspects of those conversations can only be understood by a person who's lived in those
Yeah.
environments, right? So I was very conscious from the very beginning that if I want to start therapy, first of all, that person needs to be from India. Secondly, that person needs to have a lot of experience. So, looking at the bio of the therapist that I was working with, these were the two things that I checked. She had almost 20 years of, I think 12 years of experience. Go, qualified, has had done degrees from reputed universities, But what caught my attention was she had worked extensively with women from India.
Hmm.
And women in India carry a lot of trauma,
Mm.
not just from their own families, right? But then when they go to, their
In-laws
in-laws,
or
etc.,
extended
extended
families.
families, the trauma that they carry is massive,
Mm.
right? So she had worked extensively with women, especially from India. She was an Indian herself, and that is what prompted me to work
Mm.
with her,
Mm.
right? Right, because I would love to progress with her, and start off where we left. But I can totally understand what you mean by visiting a life coach or a therapist,
Mm.
the kind of value that you can get. There are certain things that you carry with you,
Mm.
which consciously you're not even aware, right? But those triggers in day-to-day life,
Mm.
they bring those things out,
Mm.
right? And you become a very reactive person rather than someone who has um, some amount of self-control.
Mm.
So yeah, so that was my experience and what I would suggest people to do in terms of maybe searching for the right person. You would have to think about yourself first, and what is the kind of things that you would want to explore,
Mm.
and what is the kind of person you are. Maybe you're an Indian, yes,
Mm.
and you do not want to speak to an Indian,
Mm.
right? Maybe you want to get a totally fresh foreign perspective. Maybe that works for you, but that is something that you has to come from
Mm.
within yourself rather than someone else telling you.
First of all, people should also understand that if they can catch the anxiety at the beginning level,
Mm-hmm.
should not wait
Right.
for that blast to happen.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. Yesterday we met one person. Remember, we were
Mm-hmm.
talking to we sit there, and this person realized he was in anxiety, and suddenly when he was driving, and he got a panic attack in the
Mm.
car. He left the car. Remember?
Yeah.
The guy left the car and then straight went to the hospital.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Walking
walk.
because he was afraid
He was
not
afraid
that
to
if he
even drive.
drive,
Yeah.
he'll meet with an
Yeah.
accident.
No, I know they can go to that level that they think they're having a heart attack.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
cannot
And many
breathe.
times,
Mm-hmm.
Like it will have even a physical
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's physical. Until it
manifestation.
becomes physical, people don't realize that there is anxiety or there
Right.
is a stress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, many people when people come for session, I always tell them, why you come in emergency?
Mm.
Why you have to come in emergency? You can come regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so it's very important to have that awareness that I am going through this.
Mm.
Yeah, there are signs. You should catch the signs.
Right.
Yes, your sleeping pattern would be disturbed, or you will be getting the dreams, crazy
Mm.
dreams. Yeah, a little bit pain in the body, which is continuously happening. It is
Mhm.
not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So you should have this, and also the headache, migraine.
Mm-hmm.
If all those things are continuously happening, the palpitation in the heart, to see these small things, people should see these things, and once they see that it's happening, they should think about what's happening,
Mm.
or the overthinking, like I said. If certain subjects are continuously running in your mind, and
Mm.
those things are not leaving your mind, you
Mm.
believe it's okay, it's happening in my life and
Mm.
it is in my mind. No, yeah, you
Right.
can think about one thing for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, but if it is continuously running in the background,
Mm.
it is disturbing your peace, you should address it.
Mhm.
Yeah, you should start. For the beginning, you can start with your friend circle.
Mm.
You don't need to go to maybe a therapist in the beginning.
Mm.
Yeah,
Very good
just
point.
talk to the people around you.
Very good point.
Yeah, everybody. At least you have one person around you.
Mm.
You have at least one person who is able to listen. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So try to understand. Try to talk to people around you.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe that person is not even your friend. Maybe that
No.
person is your mom or your father, whoever you're comfortable
Whoever
with.
you are comfortable with, your
Correct.
brother, your
Yeah.
sister,
Yeah.
the teacher in the class, or anybody, the priest in the
Yeah.
temple. You
Mhm.
don't know. It can be anyone. So
Right.
people should open up and talk about it.
Right.
And they should also think that it is not a mental disease.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, it is just the thinking, overthinking, anxiety, and stress.
Right.
So we should able to open up about it.
Right.
First of all. and should do not wait to reach to that level where it becomes really physical, because then reverse is very difficult. Yeah,
Reversal
it will
is.
happen because you will spend, like you said, insurance and all. You will spend lots of money, like the physical health. Correct. People have to spend lots of money on mental health. Actually, it is more expensive than the
Correct.
physical.
Yes.
Correct. So you have to take care. People have to be aware about it. So, and before that, prevention is also good. So start meditating,
Right.
start doing little bit of pranayama. Even though you don't have anything, just do it. So tomorrow a stressful situation comes in your life, you are able to handle that. Because the whole trauma or stress, how it is coming? Because you were not able to handle one situation, you gulped it, you put it inside. You said, I'm gonna suppress it. I'm not gonna talk about it.
Right.
And the next time trigger came, you again did the same thing. Like you said, it's keep on building up.
Right.
And where it is going? It is going only in the body. It is going in your energy body. And when it is full, it is blasting.
Correct.
So it spoils the relationship. It spoils everything around you if you don't take care about it.
A very beautiful. I was listening to a few verses of Bhagavad Gita today. There's a very beautiful verse there. I don't know the verse. Pardon my ignorance. But the essence of it, I can tell you. In Bhagavad Gita, mind you, Lord Krishna is saying, um, there are certain things that you should do in your life to help you yourself. Meditation, exercise, physical exercise, and meaningful work, purposeful work. Like beautifully written, right? Meditate, exercise, and do meaningful work. Meaningful work can be anything for anyone, right? In my case, I feel like meaningful work is when I actually engage my brain for creative endeavors, right? Or if I truly feel happy when I'm giving something to someone, anything giving, right? It really fills your heart with gratitude.
No, it should be something meaningful either
Yes.
to yourself,
Yes,
or you should be adding a meaning to someone's life.
someone's life. Beautiful.
Correct.
Yes,
So it should add something
right.
in your daily day-to-day basis.
Correct.
It can be a very simple thing, but it gives you lots of happiness and the relief. Because
Right.
again, when you say who you are, correct, then he asked you the question. So when you do these small things, there are better chances that you will know yourself. Because you will know yourself by doing some thing you love to do.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
At least at this mundane materialistic level, the more you do, the more you know.
Right.
Yeah, but you have to observe yourself and do the things, like it's like a flower, correct?
Right.
A rose flower.
Mm-hmm.
There's a rose fragrance. Rose, you cannot separate the fragrance with the rose.
From the rose.
Correct.
Yes.
It's same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from the fragrance, we realize a rose flower. Yeah. There is no question to ask who it is. In the same way, if you find your niche in that way, so that kind of contemplation should also happen in the life. Even from the childhood, it can happen. But if it doesn't happen, as an adult, everybody has to sit and think.
Right.
What do I really like to do? People
Yes.
don't ask this. This is crazy. People keep on working from morning till night. Maybe the things they don't like to do, but they will not sit and ask this question. This is itself is a therapy.
But I think also another thing, especially when you figure out what triggers you, and maybe not also necessarily what triggers, but that triggers exist and that everyone has them. At least I notice this. Maybe you can, disagree with me if it is, if it is so. But I also noticed it helps in relationships as well.
Yes.
And I noticed this when we would have a disagreement or an argument, and I would, again, consciously start monitoring my reactions to what is happening. But then I'm also paying attention to his reactions. Because you go, I mean, you get into an argument and your instinct is immediately, oh no, let me prove my point and let me say what is my point, because whatever the other person is saying, it's directly towards me,
Yeah.
when 9 times out of 10 it's not. So there would be situations when we would have a disagreement and he has a certain reaction or I have a certain reaction, that I would actually like pause and start to think in the moment, okay, wait, my reaction doesn't have necessarily has to do anything with him,
Yeah.
or his has, or vice versa.
Vice versa.
It can either be something either one said, just the wording of it,
Mm.
it could be the tone of it, or it could also be the, let's say, difference how we were brought up. So something that I was very used to how my parents would react to me and I would react to them,
Yeah.
in an argument or something, that's how we were, going at it. Where for the other person, it can be something completely different and trigger something completely different. And then also when you started your sessions, you also came very aware of would what were your triggers, let's say, in a way, so that even if we go like disagreeing in something and I or he doesn't appreciate the way I am approaching it or vice versa, we know how to sort of verbalize it afterwards and say, this made me feel like that because of this,
Yeah.
and this. So then we know that, because disagreements will happen.
Yeah.
That when we go have another disagreement, at least we're not going in the same vicious circle
Vicious
of,
circle.
oh,
Yes.
I'm coming at it like this, or you're coming at it like that, always the same way.
The appreciation of each other's culture,
Yeah.
the appreciation of each other's upbringing,
Mm.
the appreciation of the um, different situations each of us have gone through
Mm.
while growing up, um, gives that perspective.
Mm.
So even though there might be times where there is a reaction towards whatever you said or whatever I said, um, because there is an appreciation of all of those things.
Mm.
Um, at least what I try to do is put myself in your shoes,
Mm.
and see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And because that happens, more often than not, you come to a conclusion that it may be that in that heated moment, um, we might have said something, right, to each other, but because the situation was bringing out triggers from the past,
Exactly.
um, caused us to react,
Yeah.
right? And that reaction was not towards you per se, or in your case towards me, but towards the situation itself, right? And I'm glad that we are at a level of maturity where we can, recognize that and look at that from that perspective, because it helps resolution of situations quite easily, right? We come to a point of mutually agreeing to, whatever happened was due to a certain reaction, which was nothing in relation to what you are or who I am, and you know, it just came true. And because we understand that about each other, I think the resolution comes far quicker than in other situations, because of course both of us have had relationships in the past, and that hasn't been the case. Especially with me, it hasn't been the case, but in this situation, because we're trying to do the best we can for both of us, right? That that maturity helps. But there are a lot of people out there that do not have that, and we need to appreciate that as well. And because through this podcast, what we are trying to do is we're seeking answers. We are trying to form a conversation around these topics, of course, around wellness and spirituality. It really helps to give experiential knowledge to to whoever is listening, the audience, because then at a human level they will be able to relate,
Yeah.
and that's very helpful.
And also people should be aware of these things, that many people doesn't even know there is something like trigger, or there is something when I'm reacting on something,
Right.
it is coming from the past.
Right.
People think it just happened. This is who am I? This is what am I? This is my nature.
Mm-hmm.
This is not your nature.
Yes.
Correct. So if you are reacting on certain things, if you are becoming this person who is always reacting on a particular thing, you should, if you observe it, you will know the pattern.
Correct.
But there should be an awareness that we all have past,
Yes.
and the past is in us.
Yes.
Correct. And because of that past, we are reacting or responding in the present moment.
Correct.
So if you are reacting on something which is spoiling the relationship around you, before blaming the other person, you should start seeing yourself also.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beginning of the healing. Correct.
Correct.
Otherwise, if you are not seeing your own reaction, you will never think of healing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, until you reach to the point that you are lonely and nobody wants to talk to you,
Yeah.
and you are just reactive about
Everything.
everything to
Everything.
everyone.
Right.
And then you are alone, and
Right.
then you at least you start believing that I'm alone because nobody even understands me.
Right.
Yeah, so if you reach to that point and then you start doing some stupid things.
Yeah, you need to be kind to yourself. That is very important. You have to be very kind to yourself. If you're not kind to yourself, and not just kind, loving towards yourself also, because um, I heard this talk from Alan Watts 2 days ago. He said something very nicely, very plainly, and I don't know how many times we've spoken about this. When you listen to a guru, they will put the most complex of topics, complex of subjects in the simplest of words, and you will understand them like this. And Alan Watts is one of those. I love to listen to him. So he says, um, when you are in a reactive situation, right? Um, and when you are getting triggered by something, right? Know that the other person, or the situation you are in, multiple people, whoever it is, they are also reacting out of the same thing. Like they also have insecurities. They also have a past. They are also coming from a place of reaction, right? So someone's reaction is causing a reaction in you, right? It needs to stop somewhere.
Exactly. The chain has to stop.
That needs to stop, and it needs, and if you realize that, it can just stop at you, right? And it will not progress.
Yeah.
And to know those reactions and to know those triggers, you have to be aware. I mean, I don't know how much people know about Alan Watts, but he was very into, Buddhism, Hinduism, and all those philosophies. Taoism, he was
Amazing.
yeah, he was very in depth with Taoism. Um, and he puts this so simply. He says it's nothing but chain reaction, one reaction after the other. And if you are aware enough to stop it, you can stop it right there. It does not need to go further. That is beautiful.
Yeah. This is how people live
Self.
their life in day-to-day life, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
The anger or the frustration
He did this to me.
from work comes to the home, from home goes to the work, and then from work again goes to the grocery, from grocery goes to the different places. So we keep on sharing this energy of anger, or sharing this energy of frustration,
Mm-hmm.
or the sharing this energy of anxiety
Mm-hmm.
to others.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
If there can be chain of anxiety, or there can be chain of the hate, there can be chain of love.
Yes.
There can be chain of healing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do in Kriya Tribe. Correct.
Right.
We try to work on ourselves, and we see that it's just about taking a responsibility that I am not gonna pass this thing to my loved ones,
Right.
or even to the people who are gonna come in contact with me. But to reach to that level of responsibility, there should be again a little bit of awareness
Right.
in the system.
Yes. And how does that come? That can
That
only.
comes with the conversation, that comes with the knowing about these things more, a little bit of awareness, and to also know yourself in that way that it's okay on the surface level. We are not going to talk deep about who am I questions and
Mm-hmm.
on the spiritual level, but at least to know that there is a suffering in me.
Right.
That was the Buddha's first
Yes.
truth, that everybody is suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So at least address your suffering. Yeah, where are you suffering in a
Mm.
day-to-day life from morning to evening? Something is, if anything is making you suffer, if you are not comfortable inside,
Mm.
if there is a discomfort inside you,
Mm-hmm.
address it. People don't address that.
Right.
People keep on living unconsciously. They try to hide that discomfort, or they try to forget that discomfort with alcohol or with different kind of things where they don't want to see it.
Mm.
Yeah, so the addiction is easiest thing to hide it. So I'm addicted to something, my mind is going somewhere else, and I'm hiding that discomfort. So when this discomfort keep on again, if you don't address it, if you don't release it, if you don't talk about it, keeps on building, and then your whole life become
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah, then later you go and seek help,
Medical.
and till then it's very late.
It's too late.
So address the small discomfort in your mind.
Right.
Address the small discomfort. Like you have to address the small discomfort in your body.
Mm-hmm.
If you have neck pain and you are
Right.
not doing anything about it, you are living the same lifestyle every day. This neck pain will turn into something else.
Yes.
It will come to your spine. Everybody. We talk practical. Correct.
Yes.
Remember
Please.
that whenever we speak, or whenever we are telling, we don't only talk philosophy. Correct. We
Correct.
again come to the practical level,
Yes. How
day
can
to
we?
day life straight.
Yes.
Yeah. So if it's possible for people, yeah, if people, our listeners or anyone, or even if you see friend around,
Mm-hmm.
I'll suggest that sit, take a pen and paper, and write the things which makes you
Discomfort.
discomfortable, which creates any kind of discomfort inside you, even a little thing.
Mm.
Yeah, if somebody is laughing loud next to me, it makes me discomfortable.
Mm.
Write it. Yeah, if somebody is walking very fast in front of me, it makes me discomfort. Small thing. Yeah, or somebody is doing with the pen, tuck, 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 tuck. Remember that
Mm-hmm.
noise irritates you. So write about it. So what irritates you? What creates any kind of discomfort inside you? Write it down.
Mm-hmm.
So once you write it down, you will know again. You will know yourself better, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you will know your triggers.
Hmm.
So even the small tick, 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 tick of pain, which is making you discomfort, it may have a deeper reason behind that.
Mm.
Correct. Or these are the small things. These are the things which you can see,
Mm-hmm.
but there are more deeper fears.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So you should sit and write about those fears, and you should keep a diary that way. Yeah, it's not that you write one time, and because no, every fear is not gonna show up in one day.
No, no, no.
Hmm.
Of course not.
Correct. If the fears, your triggers will show on that particular event.
Mm-hmm.
So at least give yourself a month.
Mm-hmm.
A month is kind of a good enough to see things, and see after the month that what are those things which are triggering you.
Mm.
At least start from there, and then obviously once you do this first step, you can always see this which are more serious ones and
Mm-hmm.
which are the general ones.
Right.
Yeah, so then you start working on them. You can take help. Then
Mm-hmm.
you can talk about them. Oh, this makes me discomfort. From where it's coming. Yeah, like an example, somebody is laughing out loud and it is making you discomfortable. What is the reason? Yeah, so maybe something um, happened in the childhood where you did something silly and somebody made fun of you,
Mm-hmm.
and that trigger is inside you.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know where it will connect.
Mm-hmm.
So try to write it down. It's a practical solution that try to write it down and first start with there and accept that I have triggers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. So then this is the first step I'll tell people that at least
That is
start from
amazing.
there.
I think as long if anyone comes to the point that they ask themselves the question of, I don't know, let's say, like you said, something is making you uncomfortable or something is triggering you in a way or bothering you in a
Yeah.
way. Okay, you can like name it, say this is something that is
Yes.
bothering me.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, people will, their explanation for that will be, well, that's just how I am. But I think the beginning of the change
Mm.
is if that is then followed with the question, but does it have to be that way?
First 7 years of your life, there are a lot of things that happen,
Hmm.
especially between you and your parents, right? Those and in the studies and everything, those 7 years,
Mm,
the stuff that is captured goes deep within.
mm,
Um, and sometimes you don't even know when it comes out, and you're not even aware whether you want to kill it and
yeah.
how to kill it. Essentially, you maybe had the maturity at that point to ridicule the whole thing, essentially,
Oh, I was just exhausted.
or you were whatever it was.
Because see, your
At,
change will usually happen when you reach your lowest and the most painful. Read any book about it that works on this topic. That's when people change because everyone has a threshold, right?
right,
As long as you're under the threshold, you will push it and you will go at it and go by. The moment you exceed the threshold and you're above it, you're over your limits, that's when people change. If you read any one of them, if you read um what's his name, Tim Robbins, if you read Joe Dispenza, any one of them, everyone will say that when they were at their lowest, Tim Robbins was basically completely broke,
hmm,
on the verge of a divorce.
right,
Yeah.
That's when his change started. Joe Dispenza broke his back.
right,
A guy who was overly physically active, bike rides, this, the other. He was riding his bike, he was hit by a truck,
right,
like flat collision. And he was facing a situation that either he's going to be paralyzed from the neck down, or the doctors were telling them, we can do a surgery and you can maybe regain 30% of your mobility, but you
sure,
will never be back to
right,
the level that you were at.
right,
Take a decision. And he said, I will not have the surgery.
right. So
So he was bedbound for 3 months.
to that, a lot of people will say, so you should wait for a life-threatening situation to happen
No,
for
not
you to
a,
make a change.
no.
Huh.
I'm just saying that's where the most of the time it happens.
Right. So,
It was just my response to maturity level. I was
right.
not mature.
No, no, no.
You just get exhausted to a certain point.
I understand that,
You
and
will
that's
start
why.
asking questions like anything, any revolutionary thing happening on a global level happens the same way on a personal level, is by asking a simple question. Why does it happen? Or how does it have to be like that?
And that's why
Simply
it's
like
No, it's
how the news started. Apple fallen. Simple question. Why did it fall?
and that's why it is important that we speak about them, about these things,
Yeah.
especially about NLP,
Mm.
right? Like Baba said, like few minutes ago, not a lot of people know about it.
see also
But
now you don't need to know. See, there are many people who will not go and read those books and who will not go and take those
Mm.
trainings and they don't need to be expert.
Yeah,
hmm,
yeah.
Correct. So I did not do any courses in this. Correct.
hmm,
Mm.
So you don't need to be expert. It's just about the observation. It comes
correct,
with the observation.
But
You
it's
need to
also, and it's
observe your life.
also,
You need to see
mm,
your triggers, and you can start. Like I said, you can start with first thing that we are not even talking about triggers. We are just talking
mm,
about little discomforts. That much of awareness, I think everybody has.
mm.
Correct. That what is making me uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Yeah, because you may not be aware of what is making you happy.
Baba, in a day-to-day
Hmm.
corporate life, right, in a 9 to 5 environment,
Hmm.
there is no time, especially during that 9 to 5.
Hmm.
There is no time to even acknowledge what is making you
Come
uncomfortable.
home and do that.
Yeah, but how do people deal with that in a corporate environment?
See, you cannot do.
They get up,
Hmm.
right?
Could we got the topic?
They get up. The call finished.
Yeah.
They got triggered,
Yeah.
right? They get up. They go down. They have a smoke.
That's what I'm telling. People try to forget that.
Right. Right? And they have a smoke and this, that, the other. They'll start venting with their colleague maybe, right? Come back to the desk, start working again.
See, if you are doing this,
Brushed under the carpet.
if anybody is doing that, these are already reached to almost a decent level of anxiety.
Yes.
Correct. So we are not, for now, we are not telling those people. We are not telling those people. We are telling how to begin. Correct. For the beginners, if you are not doing that, if you are understanding these little triggers in your day-to-day life, you understand. The people who are doing that already having anxiety and trying to hide with this smoke and all, and they are not doing anything about that. It's a warning. You do it. You do it for next for a few more years, and you will see the changes in your body.
Not a lot of people are even aware that they need to be aware about these things.
But see, we see people from this outside, correct? Everybody has their own coping mechanism,
Coping
method,
Correct.
releasing method. You
Yes.
don't know what they do after office hours.
Yes.
I was about
Somebody
to
is going and doing some yoga, somebody is going doing some meditation,
Right.
somebody is going and playing some sports. We cannot do this. We cannot generalize this. Yeah, obviously there is a stress. Good, we started this topic of corporate because I work with corporates and I know when I go there, the moment you enter, you feel this energy. Correct? Everybody is uptight and there is a stress somewhere and there is a deadlines, pressure of the deadlines. And I also worked in corporate, so I know that you have to deliver at any cost. You have to deliver. Correct? But do you need to deliver at the cost of your own health? Or do you need to deliver at the cost of your own mental peace? Correct. You still have to deliver.
But are they asking these questions?
No, that's what I'm saying. When we are talking at the very beginner level, correct. Everybody has a trigger. Yeah, even people who are working in the offices, they have the issues. They so first thing is to know about it, that I have a problem. If you don't acknowledge that I have a problem, there is no solution for that.
No, I understand, but even that beginning, right? That aha moment, right? Oh, this is what it is, or this is.
There is no aha.
This might be the.
There is no aha moment. Oh, ouch. But aha is coming later.
No, I know, Baba, but what we are saying is recognizing that, right?
Yeah.
I don't. Yes, I've seen a lot of people. They go to the gym, right? They will go for yoga.
Like for
Yeah.
you, stress
Yeah.
thing, if
Yeah.
you just
For me also, going to the gym, relieving that stress through sweat is a big thing. But does it basically?
does it answer your deeper questions? Question is that.
It does not,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And those, I mean,
No.
by releasing those hormones during those 45 minutes or to an hour might make you feel good for a certain amount of time. But
See,
then,
it is also a distraction, but it's a healthy distraction.
yeah,
Correct. You're not drinking alcohol, you're not smoking, you're
Yes.
working. Obviously, it is good for the physical body, it keeps your mind busy. Yeah. And maybe it may, at some level also, it may help to release deeper triggers. Sometime or somewhere when the energy is rising, when you are doing it meditatively, when you are focused on your exercises and when you are actually present. Some people are not even present when they are exercising.
right.
Just listening to music and how many people are actually feeling the each and every body part and each and every cell. That can also be meditation.
Right.
Correct. But it's about being present with what you can just cook and you can do your meditation. You can eat food and there is a meditation. In the same way, being present. So that's what, if you can't be present for your whole day, at least come home, sit, take your diary and write what did
Mm.
trigger me today.
Yeah.
You cannot, you may not acknowledge it right at that moment. You will still react from your past. But come home and at least do a contemplation that, okay, this thing triggered me today.
Right.
Next day you write again. Next day you write again.
Right.
Eventually you will find a common factor.
Right.
How you were triggered by your boss, how you were triggered by your wife, how you were triggered by an unknown person on the street.
Right.
So if you summarize it, you will at least find few triggers which are common. Then you will know, oh, this particular behavior triggers me. If
Right.
somebody is shouting or speaking loud,
Right.
it triggers me.
Right.
Maybe it can be my boss, it can be my mom, it can
Right.
be a person on the street. That is my trigger. Okay, this is one thing. Good, write it down. Okay, somebody is laughing out loud, that is triggering me, or somebody is angry in front of me, that is also making me fearful. So you
Right.
don't know. Or I'm seeing somebody is beating someone on the street, or so you
Right.
find those few triggers, and then obviously you will eventually need the help of a specialist who will not be able to do that maybe.
Correct.
But it's a good beginning. Correct. Once you know that, and then you will.
This topic maybe needed your energy, Kuku.
Yeah.
And again, thank you very much.
I needed the logic,
Maybe.
Huh?
the Serbian logic.
Yes.
Maybe. No, I cannot.
No, best Serbian solution: just drink rakia in the morning and you're done.
Yeah.
You're golden for the day.
Yeah, 2 more days before you do that. Again, I cannot thank you enough,
Thank you.
Ksenija Yankovic Yadav, for making the time and being so sweet that you're awake till almost 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
Not almost. It is one.
It is 1, okay, 1 in the
For
morning
that.
for us. Thank you so much. That was very sweet of you. And for sharing your experience with us. Right?
We'll meet more. We'll
Yeah.
meet more. I think you liked it, yeah?
Yes.
I liked it.
Yeah, I
Not
can
the timing,
see.
but
I can
the
see
experience. I liked
you're
it.
trying to hide your yawn, but at least it was only one time or two times. Otherwise, all the time you were awake,
No, with Cookie,
shining.
she loves to express herself, and she just needs a vessel, basically, a means.
And I need right people.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else? It's the blank
Yeah.
face.
No. Thank
Thank
you.
you again.
You're
It was
welcome.
good.
Thank you.
It was wonderful.
Thank you for including me.
Yes.
Yeah, and homework.
Yes.
Today's
so-
exercises we shared, and if any of our listeners are making that kind of a list, you can, if you want to send an email, or if you want to talk
Share
more
your
about it.
Thoughts, experiences
Yeah.
in the comments.
Yeah.
If some of you have already done certain exercises like this, a lot of people keep journals, right?
Yeah.
You can share your experiences in the comments. It will just, proceed the conversation forward.
Yeah.
Just like us, we are trying to learn and seek answers. I'm sure a lot of people are trying to learn and seek answers. And if we keep the conversation healthy in the comment section, I think it will help another person. That person might help another person, etc., etc. And then this
So
conversation keeps going.
let's build a chain of healing, chain of love,
Yeah.
and chain of helping each other.
Yes, absolutely. And on that thought, I think we should end for today.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Namaste.